In the marble lobby of the Harrington Hotel, a young CEO wearing dark sunglasses taps a white cane against the polished stone floor. Liam Harrington moves slowly through the morning crowd, his suitcase wobbling on uneven wheels. He is blind, or so it seems, testing who still believes in kindness. The cane slides. The suitcase tips. Papers scatter across the floor. Everyone steps back. Then, a small voice trembles through the silence. "Excuse me. Let me help." Serena Brooks, the shy night shift maid, kneels to gather each fallen page. She gently takes his hand and whispers, "It's okay. I'm here." When power pretends to be helpless, who dares to reach out? One trembling hand is enough to change an empire, and the heart of the man standing on top of it. Liam Harrington did not wake up one morning and decide to pretend he could not see. The decision came after months of watching his executive team smile to his face while undermining each decision behind closed doors. His previous assistant had sold proprietary designs to competitors, walking away with a severance package because the lawyers said a public trial would damage the brand more than the betrayal itself. So Liam learned to trust no one. He learned to control every variable, to read every room, to never show weakness. But control, he discovered, was just another word for loneliness. The Harrington Group owned 47 hotels across 3 continents. Liam had inherited the company at 28 when his father suffered a stroke during a board meeting. 6 years later, Liam had doubled revenue and tripled the stock price. Industry magazines called him a visionary. His employees called him demanding. His mother, in her rare phone calls from the villa in Tuscany, called him a stranger. She was right. Somewhere between the hostile takeover of the Morrison chain and the launch of the AI concierge system, Liam had stopped recognizing himself in mirrors. He saw only a title: CEO, Chief Executive, Operator of Outcomes. That is why, on a Wednesday morning in early autumn, Liam Harrington put on dark glasses and picked up a white cane. He wanted to know if anyone still saw him as human. He wanted to measure the integrity of his organization when no one thought the boss was watching. The plan was simple: arrive at the flagship property during the morning rush. Pretend to struggle. See who helps. His head of security knew. His chief legal officer knew. No one else. Especially not the staff. The suitcase was deliberately off balance. One wheel loosened, just enough to make it unstable. The papers inside were old, quarterly reports, meaningless, but thick enough to spill dramatically. Liam entered through the main doors at 7:45, precisely when the lobby would be crowded with checkout guests and arriving business travelers. He tapped the cane slowly, carefully, listening to the echo against marble and glass. 32 people were in that lobby. He knew because security had done a head count. 32 people watched him struggle with a tilting suitcase and a cane that could not find purchase on the polished stone. Oliver Kane, the front desk manager, glanced over from behind the concierge station. He was 42, held an MBA from a decent state school, and had worked at Harrington for 9 years without a single disciplinary note. Oliver looked at the blind man with the falling suitcase. He looked at his coworker. "Someone should help," he muttered, but he did not move. He had a line of guests waiting. He had metrics to hit. He had plausible deniability. The suitcase tipped. Papers exploded across the floor like white birds startled into flight. Liam's cane clattered against a marble column. He stood very still, listening. 32 people, leather soles on stone, the hiss of the espresso machine. Quiet conversations about flight times and meeting schedules. No one moved toward him. No one offered a hand. This, Liam thought, is what I built. An empire of efficiency without empathy. Then he heard it. Fast footsteps, lighter than the others. The soft squeak of rubber-soled work shoes. A voice, barely louder than a breath. "Excuse me, sir. Let me help." Serena Brooks had been cleaning the executive lounge on the 3rd floor when she glanced down through the glass railing and saw a man struggling alone. She did not know he was the CEO. She did not know this was a test. She only saw someone who needed help and a crowd choosing to look away. Serena was 26 years old and had been working night shifts at the Harrington for 8 months. She sent most of her paycheck to her younger brother, Saint, who was studying refrigeration repair at a technical college 200 miles away. She lived in a rented room with a hot plate and a shared bathroom. She did not own a car. She took 2 buses to get to work. Her supervisor had written on her last review that Serena was adequate, but overly timid. She spoke so softly that guests sometimes had to ask her to repeat herself. She apologized too often. She made herself small, but when she saw the blind man with the scattered papers, something in her chest pulled tight. She set down her cleaning supplies and hurried down the stairs. By the time she reached the lobby floor, her heart was hammering, but her hands were steady. She knelt on the cold marble and began gathering the pages, organizing them by the colored tabs on each edge. She picked up the cane and placed it gently in the man's right hand. Then, before she could second-guess herself, she took his left hand in both of hers. "It's okay," she whispered. "I'm here." Liam Harrington felt her hands. They were trembling, but they did not let go. Her voice was so quiet he had to lean in to hear. She described the lobby like she was painting it in words. 3 steps forward, there's a rug that curls at the corner. Turn left. The edge of the bench is sharp, about knee height. She did not rush him. She did not perform for an audience. She simply guided him, as if his dignity mattered more than her schedule. Liam asked, "Do you know who I am?" Serena paused. She looked at his face, still obscured by dark glasses. "I only see someone who might trip," she said. Liam filed away the sound of her voice. Trembling, but warm. Afraid, but kind. "This," he thought, "is what I have been looking for. Not competence, not efficiency, humanity." Across the lobby, Clinton Ward watched the scene with narrowed eyes. Clinton was 40 years old, vice president of operations, and he had built his career on reading power dynamics. He saw a Maid touching the CEO. He saw an opportunity. Clinton leaned close to Oliver Kane and whispered, "She's trying to get noticed." Touching the boss. Bold move. The rumor started before Serena even left the lobby. By the time she returned to her cleaning cart, 2 other housekeepers were already whispering, "Did you see her? All over that guy. Trying to get a promotion." Desperate. Serena heard the words, but did not understand them yet. She only knew she had done what felt right. She adjusted the small maple leaf necklace her mother had given her before passing, and she went back to work. In his office on the top floor, Liam removed the dark glasses. He sat in the leather chair his father had commissioned and stared out at the city. For the first time in months, he felt something other than suspicion. He felt curious. He picked up the phone and called Human Resources. "I need you to assign someone to assist me for the next 48 hours. Accessibility support during the trial run of our new inclusive service program." He gave them Serena's name. He did not explain why. Beatrix Cole, the head of public relations, was the first to raise concerns. She was 32, sharp as cut glass, and paid to think 3 moves ahead. "This is a mistake," she said when Liam briefed her. "If anyone finds out you're faking a disability, the optics are catastrophic. And if you're seen with a maid in close quarters, that's another scandal waiting to happen." Liam leaned back. "I don't need cameras, Beatrix. I need a guide." Beatrix sighed. "Then don't blame me when this blows up in your face." The next morning, Serena received a memo from Human Resources. She was being temporarily reassigned to provide mobility assistance for a vision-impaired guest participating in a service excellence pilot. She would be paid her regular hourly rate. The assignment would last 2 days. Serena read the memo 3 times, anxiety coiling in her stomach. She was not trained for this. She did not know anything about working with people who could not see. But the memo was official, and she could not afford to say no. When she met Liam in the hallway outside the executive conference room, she did not recognize him. He was wearing the same dark glasses, the same white cane. He introduced himself as a consultant working with management. Serena nodded and took a breath. "Okay. Where do you need to go?" Liam gestured down the hall. Wherever you think is safe. So Serena began to describe the world. 3 steps ahead, the carpet changes to tile. It's slippery when the cleaners wax it. 5 more steps. There's a potted plant on the left, low to the ground. She described the elevator panel, counting the buttons from top to bottom so he could find the one he needed. She described the hum of the HVAC system, the scent of fresh paint from the renovated conference wing, the echo in the stairwell that meant they were near the service exit. She did not know she was teaching him how to see with language. She only knew he was listening. In the elevator, Liam asked, "Do you always whisper?" Serena flushed. "I guess so. People who need help usually don't want everyone staring." Liam nodded slowly. It was the most insightful thing anyone had said to him in years. Later that afternoon, Serena suggested something that would change everything. She was showing Liam how the cleaning staff navigated the back corridors, and she noticed how many obstacles were invisible to someone without sight. A mop bucket left in a doorway, a wet floor sign placed too close to the wall, an extension cord taped down but still raised enough to catch a shoe. She pulled out a small notepad from her uniform pocket and began sketching a map. "If we had cards," she said quietly, "with descriptions of the safe paths during busy hours, people wouldn't have to guess." Liam tilted his head. "What kind of descriptions?" Serena thought for a moment. "Sharp corner at 3 feet. Step down in 6 paces. Cart usually parked here between 2 and 4 p.m. She looked up. Things that help people who can't see, or people who are carrying too much, or people who are just tired. Liam smiled behind the dark glasses. This woman, who apologized for taking up space, had just designed an accessibility protocol better than anything his $50,000 consultants had proposed. "Make the cards," he said. "I'll make sure they get used." But not everyone was pleased. Clinton Ward saw Serena walking close to the consultant, saw her hand on his elbow, saw the way she leaned in to speak softly. He saw a threat to the order he had carefully built. Clinton had worked at Harrington for 12 years. He had survived 3 regime changes by knowing when to flatter, when to undermine, and when to let someone else take the fall. He had cultivated allies in every department. He controlled the performance metrics. He decided who got promoted and who got reassigned to the graveyard shift in the airport location. Clinton did not like variables he could not predict. Serena Brooks was a variable. He called Oliver Kane into his office. "I need you to assign Serena to the VIP floor tomorrow. Give her the room list, but make sure she has access to the executive meeting suite." Oliver frowned. "That suite is supposed to be locked during board sessions." Clinton smiled. "Just give her the list. She'll do what she always does. Follow orders." The next day, Serena received a revised assignment sheet. She was to clean 6 rooms on the VIP floor, including Suite 1214. The door was unlocked when she arrived. She knocked, heard no answer, and entered with her cart. The room was empty. She cleaned the bathroom, changed the linens, restocked the coffee station. She was vacuuming when Clinton Ward walked in with a security guard. "What are you doing here?" Clinton's voice was sharp, performative. Serena froze. "I was assigned to clean this room. It's on my list." Clinton shook his head slowly. "This suite was reserved for a private meeting. You just violated a dozen protocols." He turned to the security guard. "Escort her to HR." Serena felt the floor tilt beneath her. "I was just following my assignment." "I didn't know." "Ignorance," Clinton said, "is not an excuse." The HR office was a small, windowless room that smelled like burnt coffee and anxiety. Beatrix Cole was there, brought in because media implications were possible if this turned into a wrongful termination suit. She looked at Serena with something close to pity, but did not intervene. Clinton presented his case. Unauthorized entry. Potential corporate espionage. At minimum, a serious lapse in judgment. He recommended immediate suspension, pending a full investigation. Serena sat with her hands folded in her lap. She did not cry. She had learned long ago that crying made people uncomfortable, and uncomfortable people made cruel decisions. She simply said, "I was given a list. I cleaned the rooms on the list. Do you have a copy of that list? The HR director asked. Serena shook her head. It was digital. On the staff portal. Clinton smiled. I checked the portal. There's no record of Suite 1214 being assigned to housekeeping today, and that was that. Serena was suspended without pay, pending a review that could take weeks. She packed her cleaning supplies into a cardboard box. She walked out through the service entrance as rain began to fall. She did not say goodbye to anyone. She had learned that goodbyes just make people feel obligated to feel bad, and she did not want to be a burden. Saint called that night. How was work? Serena lied. Fine. How's school? Good. I got a 92 on my compressor exam. He paused. You sound tired. Just a long shift. Don't let them work you too hard, okay? And don't be too nice. Remember what happened last time? Serena remembered. The last job, she had covered for a coworker who was late because of childcare issues. The coworker had blamed Serena for a missing inventory count, and Serena had been let go. Being kind, she had learned, was a liability. I'll be careful, she said, but it was already too late. Liam Harrington stood in the executive boardroom with 12 of his senior leaders. He had called the meeting for 8 a.m., no agenda provided. The room was silent. Then Liam reached up and removed his dark glasses. He set them on the table. He placed the white cane beside them. I'm not blind, he said. I never was. This was a test. The room erupted. Confusion. Outrage. Legal scrambling to calculate liability. Beatrix went pale. Clinton Ward sat very still, his expression neutral, calculating. Liam held up a hand. For 48 hours, I walked through this building pretending I could not see. I wanted to know who would help. I wanted to measure the culture we've built. He paused. 32 people watched me struggle in the lobby. One person helped. One. He told them about Serena. About her descriptions of the safe paths. About the accessibility cards she had designed on a notepad during her 15-minute break. About the way she had treated his fake helplessness with real dignity. That woman has more leadership in her whisper than most of you have in your quarterly presentations. Then he said, I'm opening a full cultural audit. And I'm bringing Serena Brooks back. Immediately, Clinton leaned forward. With respect, sir, she still violated protocol. She entered a restricted meeting suite. Liam's gaze was cold. Then, let's review the protocol. Let's pull every access log, every assignment, every digital record. Let's see exactly what happened. Clinton's smile did not waver, but something flickered behind his eyes. The story leaked within hours. Anonymous tip to a business blogger. Harrington CEO fakes disability to test employees. The headline was perfect rage bait. Twitter erupted. Half the internet called Liam a genius of management psychology. The other half called him a sociopath, trivializing real disability. Disability advocacy groups demanded a statement. Shareholders demanded clarity. The stock price dipped 3% in morning trading. Beatrix stood in Liam's office with a crisis communications plan. We need to apologize. We need to make a donation to accessibility charities. We need to announce sensitivity training. And we need to distance ourselves from the Maid situation before someone spins it into a number Me Too angle. Liam shook his head. I won't apologize for the test, and I won't throw Serena under the bus. Then, you're going to make this worse. I'm going to make it right. Liam found Serena at her rented room, in a converted motel off Route 9. The rain had turned heavy, drumming on the thin roof. She answered the door in sweatpants and an oversized t-shirt, her eyes red but dry. Liam stood in the rain and held out an envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter and an invitation to a training program. I'm sorry, he said. This shouldn't have happened. Serena took the envelope but did not open it. I don't want special treatment. I'm not offering special treatment. I'm offering a chance to teach what you already know. She looked at him for a long moment. I'm not good with spotlights. Then we'll speak quietly, Liam said. Like you always do. 3 days later, Serena stood in front of 20 staff members, teaching them how to describe spaces for people who could not see. She used a blindfold exercise. Half the group was sighted, half wore blackout masks. The sighted ones had to guide their partners through an obstacle course, using only words. No touching, just language. Most of them failed the first time. They said, "Over there," and "that thing," and "you know." They had forgotten how to be specific, how to be patient, how to see the world through someone else's fear. Serena showed them her safety path cards, simple laminated notes describing hazards by location and time. Sharp table edge, chest height, near column 3, wet tile. Main hallway, 7 to 9 a.m. She explained how small details could mean the difference between independence and injury. The staff took notes. Some of them cried. One older housekeeper, who had worked at Harrington for 16 years, raised her hand. "I never thought about it like this. I just thought my job was to clean. Your job," Serena said softly, "is to make people safe." After the session, Liam found Serena in the empty training room. She was putting away the blindfolds, folding each one carefully. "You're a natural teacher," he said. Serena shook her head. "I just know what it's like to need help and be too scared to ask." Liam sat down in one of the folding chairs. For the first time, he looked tired. "I've never had someone hold my hand when I was at my weakest," he said quietly. "Even when I was a kid. Especially then." Serena turned to face him. "Everyone has moments when they need to be led." Something passed between them then. Not quite romance. Not yet. But recognition. Two people who had spent their lives making themselves small, learning to armor up, learning to not need. And here, in a training room that smelled like old coffee and dry erase markers, they saw each other clearly. But Clinton Ward was not finished. He had spent a career building leverage, and he knew how to weaponize optics. He pulled security footage from the hallways, clips of Serena walking close to Liam, her hand on his elbow. He edited them down to 5-second moments that looked intimate, familiar, inappropriate. He sent the video to an anonymously registered email account, which forwarded it to 3 media outlets known for corporate scandal coverage. The subject line, "Harrington CEO's blind test hides inappropriate relationship with staff." The video went viral in 4 hours. Cropped, contextualized with sinister music and suggestive captions. The stock dropped another 2 points. The board called an emergency meeting. Beatrix presented the metrics. 68% negative sentiment. #trending in 11 countries. "We're losing brand value by the hour." One board member, a silver-haired woman who had worked with Liam's father, spoke carefully. "If the young woman voluntarily steps away, this dies in a week." Liam stood. "Absolutely not. Then you're choosing her over the company. I'm choosing the truth over convenience." That night, Serena wrote a letter. She did not show it to Liam. She left it on the front desk of the Harrington corporate office with instructions to deliver it to the CEO. The letter was 3 sentences long. "I don't want to be the reason this company suffers. I'll step away. Please remember that someone still believes in you." Folded inside the envelope was her maple leaf necklace, the one her mother had given her, the one she wore when she needed to feel brave. Liam opened the envelope in his office at 2 in the morning. He had not slept in 30 hours. He held the necklace in his palm, feeling the weight of it. The small chain. The delicate leaf. He thought about Serena kneeling in the lobby, gathering papers, whispering that it was okay. He thought about her designing safety cards on her break. He thought about her teaching a room full of strangers how to see with language. And he thought about how easy it would be to let her disappear. To take the path of least resistance. To choose the empire over the person. He put the necklace in his pocket and started making calls. By dawn, Liam had assembled a forensic IT team. He had them pull metadata from every video file, every email, every access log related to Serena's suspension. Within 6 hours, they had traced the edited video back to a server cluster controlled by Clinton Ward's department. They found the original assignment list that had directed Serena to clean Suite 1214. They found emails showing Clinton had personally altered the digital records after the fact. They found a pattern of similar manipulations going back 3 years. Clinton had built a system of plausible deniability, always leaving someone else holding the evidence while he claimed ignorance. Oliver Kane, the front desk manager, broke first. When confronted with the email trails, he admitted that Clinton had pressured him to set up Serena. He said she was getting too close to the consultant. He said it was a liability. I didn't know it was the CEO. I swear I didn't know. Liam called a press conference, not a corporate statement. Not a video release. A live press conference in the main ballroom of the Harrington Hotel, with cameras from every major outlet. Beatrix tried to talk him out of it. You're giving them a spectacle. You're putting a target on your back. Good, Liam said. Let them aim. The ballroom was packed. Reporters, shareholders, employees, cameras. Liam walked to the podium without notes. He started with the truth. I made a mistake. I pretended to be blind to test my company's values, and in doing so, I turned real people into subjects of an experiment. That was wrong. The room was silent. He continued. But what I learned was worse than my mistake. I learned that we've built a culture where people are afraid to be kind, where helping someone can be used against you, where doing the right thing makes you a target. He showed the unedited security footage. Serena kneeling to help. Serena guiding him through the hallway. Serena teaching the accessibility class. Then he showed the work logs proving she had followed her assignment exactly. He showed the metadata proving the viral video had been edited and distributed from inside the company. He showed the emails, the manipulations, the pattern of abuse. Clinton Ward, our former vice president of operations, used fear as a management tool. He punished integrity and rewarded silence. He is no longer with this company. He is under investigation for corporate misconduct. The cameras flashed. Questions erupted. Liam held up a hand. One more thing. We're launching a new service protocol across all Harrington properties. It's called the Serena Protocol. Verbal descriptions of safe paths. Accessibility cards. Training for all staff on how to serve guests and colleagues who navigate the world differently. And Serena Brooks, the woman who designed this system on a notepad during her break, is leading the implementation. He paused. Serena taught me something. She said people who need help usually don't want everyone staring. So I'm going to stop staring at metrics and start seeing people. The press conference ended. The reaction was immediate. Some outlets called it damage control. Others called it accountability. Disability advocates were split, some appreciating the systemic change, others questioning the means. But the internal reaction was different. Employees who had been silent for years started coming forward. Stories of Clinton's manipulations, others he had pushed out, metrics he had weaponized, a culture of fear dressed up as excellence. Oliver Kane received a formal reprimand and a choice. He could resign, or he could spend 6 months in a new role, training staff on accessibility and working directly with guests who needed mobility support. No management responsibilities, just service. Oliver chose to stay. It was the first real decision he had made in years. Beatrix Cole became an unexpected ally. She released a public statement acknowledging that she had prioritized image over integrity and committed to changing the PR department's approach. We will no longer protect the company from the truth, she wrote. We will make the company worthy of protection. The stock recovered within a week. Not because of spin, but because institutional investors saw a CEO willing to take a public risk for a cultural correction. The Harvard Business Review ran a case study. The backlash faded into background noise. But Liam did not care about any of that. He cared about finding Serena. She was at the bus station, waiting for the express to Saints College Town. She had decided to take a few weeks, help her brother study for finals, figure out what came next. Liam found her on the bench near Gate 7, her small duffel bag at her feet. He sat down without asking permission. He held out the maple leaf necklace. You forgot this, he said. Serena took it, her fingers brushing his palm. I didn't forget. I know. Liam looked at the departures board. The buses idling in the rain. The strangers moving past with their headphones in their hurry. I've been thinking about what you said, about how people who need help don't want everyone staring. Yeah? I've been staring at the wrong things my whole life. Balance sheets. Stock tickers. Outcomes. He turned to face her. I never saw people. I saw metrics, functions. Until you. Serena was quiet for a long moment. Then she said softly, "You saw me because you were pretending to be blind." "No," Liam said. "I saw you because you didn't see me as blind. You saw me as someone who might trip." The bus for Saintstown pulled up to Gate 7. The driver opened the doors. Passengers began to board. Serena picked up her bag. "I start the training program in 2 weeks," she said. "I'll be back." Liam nodded. "I know." She started to walk toward the bus, then turned back. "It's okay," she whispered. "I'm here." And she was. 1 year later, the Harrington Hotel had the highest customer satisfaction rating in its history. The Serena protocol had been adopted by 18 other hotel chains and won 3 industry awards. Guest reviews specifically mentioned feeling seen and safe. The stock was up 22%. Liam had stepped back from day-to-day operations to focus on cultural development. He spent more time listening than talking, more time in the service corridors than the boardroom. Serena Brooks was now the director of accessibility training. She had hired a team of 12, including 3 consultants who were actually blind, and had torn apart her early designs with helpful brutality. The safety path cards were now digital, updated in real time based on housekeeping schedules and event bookings. She still whispered when she taught. But now people leaned in to hear. Saint graduated top of his class and got a job with a major HVAC company. He sent Serena a photo of his certification, written on the back, "You were right. Being good is not the same as being weak." On a Thursday evening, as the sun set over the city, Liam stood on the rooftop terrace of the flagship hotel. He was not wearing dark glasses. He could see everything: the skyline, the traffic, the people moving through their lives below. He heard footsteps behind him and turned. Serena walked toward him, no longer in a housekeeping uniform, but in clothes she had chosen for herself. She still wore the maple leaf necklace. Liam held out his hand, not because he needed guidance, not because he was testing anything, just because he wanted to. Serena took his hand without hesitation. Her fingers were steady now. She looked at him, really looked, and smiled. Where the story had begun, with a man pretending to be blind in a crowd of people who refused to see, it ended with 2 people who saw each other clearly. Not through obligation, not through performance, but through the simple, radical act of paying attention. They stood together as the light faded into evening. No cameras. No audience. Just 2 people who had learned that seeing is not about eyes. It is about heart, courage, and the willingness to reach out when someone needs a hand. Serena squeezed his fingers gently. "It's okay," she whispered one last time. "I'm here." And that, Liam knew, was the only truth that mattered.